Hello and welcome to the Onyx Path Publishing Virtual Gaming Con powered by Gehenna Gaming. Tonight we are playing Mummy the Cursed, second edition, with our players, who I will allow them to introduce themselves because they'll do a better job at it than I ever will. With me, we have Stephen. Stephen, why don't you tell everyone who you are and who you'll be playing?
Hello. Yes, my name is Steven. I game with Vorpal Tales, a Twitch gaming group. You can catch us on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and any of our replays on YouTube. And I'm just excited to be here. I will be playing the Arisen, the Serpent, head of the Serpent, and his name is Ozir.
Very good. And how about you, my friend, Lauren Roy?
I'm Lauren Roy. I am a writer and developer. I have written for a whole heck of a lot of books from Onyx Path, including Mummy 2nd Edition. I will be playing Lise, who is a jackal.
Awesome. Moving on to Nick Francia.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick Francia. I work with Gehenna Gaming as their stream producer, and I also work as a game designer over at Rogue Robot Studios. Today I am excited and ecstatic to be playing Ahmed, the Lion.
Last but certainly not least, we've got Jay Thornton.
I'm Jay. I am playing the Arisen Croatan, who is a bull. And I am I've met Rick through Gehenna Gaming over at PAX Unplugged a long time. It was a year ago now, almost? Half a year.
Yeah, Nick too, actually.
Yeah, that's fun.
We have a great adoption agency with Gehenna Gaming. We accept cats and gamers. So
There is an overwhelming amount of cats. Not that I'm complaining. But...
Stray GMs, as it were.
Those two. So tonight we'll be playing the Mummy the Cursed second edition from Onyx Path, which is I think scheduled to release as a hardcover this October. And they had a very successful Kickstarter. A number of different backer tiers came to that. You can still get the manuscript via backer kit, and you should check it out. Hopefully this game will inspire you to write your own Mummy Tales and write some great games with your communities. But anyway, moving on into the game, let's get started. Is everyone ready to go?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
It's born ready.
I'm going to read from the opening of the book. They've got a little excerpt from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I have traveled through the tomb, dark and lonely ground. I am here now. I have come. I see. In the underworld, I embraced my father. I have burned away his darkness. I am his beloved. I have killed the snake. I have given him meat. I walk in the sleep through earth and heaven. The Book of the Dead. And the second edition book begins with, I am deathless, I die, but I return. I am a relic. I am a monument to a buried empire. I dedicate life and life again to my unending purpose. My soul is eternal. I devote myself to one of its aspects. It reminds me who I am, no matter how many millennia I persist or what I forget. I am not my own master. My judge demands my faith and service. I reap what I sow. I am arisen. Memory is fleeting, but these things endure. And our players start in the city of Irem, in what is now known as the Nameless Empire, a vast empire that spanned the globe thousands of years ago. Irem is the city that many would think that the ancient Egyptian civilization built itself up on the remnants of. It is an impossible age of magic and science. The gods of the Duat have aided in the construction of this empire, creating faiths and structures of power across the globe. in their great ambition, the creation of the Arisen, the chosen few who will walk the waters of the Duat and emerge blessed with the undying condition, fueled with the words of power to be the very instruments of the God's will upon earth for all time. The golden age of this empire is about to crumble into dust and be forgotten by ages past, as one of the great empires fades from the earth. So scene 1, our players awaken in their hometown. They've gone to an academy together for a number of years, preparing for this day. For tomorrow, they will undergo the ritual that will turn them into Arisen. And why don't you introduce your characters and what they look like as you meet in the grand courtyard to discuss what is it that lies ahead of you on your last day of your studies before this grand ritual.
I guess I can go first. So Ozir will be standing in the courtyard. He's not overly tall, maybe 5'8", 5'9", slim build, black hair but with green highlights. Fairly unassuming, except for kind of the way he dresses stands out. Greens and golds. So he's the head of the snake, but he will be. But yeah. So overall, just relatively unassuming, easy to talk to. No real defining features in his face.
How about Lise?
Lise is comes into the courtyard, sort of looking around, just kind of taking note of everything, especially any of the architecture in the area, kind of nodding in satisfaction, like this is right, this is how it should be. She's probably on the shorter side, kind of stocky, long dark hair pulled back into a bun, dressed pretty simply. Just more function over form.
Gotcha. And Croatan, describe yourself.
So I am average height, 5'7", have black hair, brown eyes, dark skin, and I'm in the courtyard as well, kind of just peacefully just enjoying the nature and everything kind of going around right now, just taking it all in.
Mr. Nick.
Ahmed strolls into the courtyard a few minutes after everyone else. He is fairly confident in his walk and has a larger frame at about 6'4", long flowing black hair that has been pulled into a ponytail with a variety of jeweled holders. He wears golden bracelets and a robe that is actually hanging off, exposing his torso, and comes with a somewhat gallivant smile on his face as he opens his arms when he sees the other three and goes, "My friends, today is a most special day."
Ahmed, so good to see you as always. Yes, today is the most special of days.
The day we've all been waiting for.
Day to remember.
Come now. It shouldn't be one that we should feel so daunted in front of. It is honor. It's for glory that we have been chosen.
You look about the courtyard. It's quite busy. You have a lot of people walking by you. Some of them going to their daily tasks, their jobs. Many of them looking at you over the shoulder, knowing that you're about to become something transcendent compared to them. You see some looks of envy. You see some looks of joy that these new people who are going to continue their name and describe the places that you live. They know that part of this civilization will live on, even if the civilization itself doesn't. That their memories are carried with you throughout the ages. That they'll finally have built something truly permanent and undying. You see others that look at you with sorrow, knowing that they have seen the ritual firsthand before and that it's not for the faint of heart. You also get a couple of really overly patriotic people who are like, yeah, that a guy, that a gal. You can do it. Heck yeah. You know, there's some of those in every crowd, no matter what civilization you're from.
Azir would take time to kind of, anyone who's looking at him in that way, kind of go up, talk to them, address them, you know, kind of like, thank you, you know, this is a great day for all of us, for any one of us. And for the people that look on enviously, he'll kind of smirk, and he takes that in. He likes that, people wanting what he's going to have.
Ahmed is just basking in the glory.
And as you look in front of you, not far away, is the school that you've all gone to all these years, with a very thin old man, a very long beard, wearing simple robes. He's got a big smile on his face. He's got a bald head. He's fairly tan. And he looks at all of you and says, "My students, this is your last day with me, and you're already late."
Hurry right on past.
Continue on my way in as he says that.
Oh. Teacher, we obviously apologize. We just thought we could take a moment to enjoy this day just for about a little bit longer. And then I'll go past.
And he grabs you as you go past. You didn't forget that there's a celebration tonight too, did you? There'll be plenty of time for that later.
It's important to savor every moment, every second.
Yes, I did fill your head with all kinds of wisdom and foolishness in good turn, didn't I? Well, let's get on with it. This is, of course, the last time I will be instructing you four, and I do say I will miss it. But I'm quite proud of you. What'd you say?
Come now, teacher. Shan't we enjoy our moil coils just a little bit longer? Let Azir have his fun. I mean, this is going to be just an eternity after.
Yes, always with a perspective, young man. And he leads you in, and you sit down in your classroom. And as he addresses you, standing before you, it has been tasked with me to tell you who the judge that you will be serving from henceforth will be. His name is Neheb Ka, the one who unifies, the one who brings them low and makes them as the cur writhing in the mud. He knows the importance of the risks of pride and how important humility is. And every arisen who's a servant to him knows their place in this order of the cosmos. You're going to wield the right of return. You'll be the deathless. He is the judge and executioner of those who grasp for more power, believing those who are not qualified to rule the destinies of others, the cruel doctor who gains thrills in the power they hold over victims, the rising star who steps on those who are beneath him. It will be your duty to strike them down. And you will worship him by serving in these deeds, but also unifying mankind, making them humble by your very presence. But there's something I'm not supposed to tell you. I know that you four have grown very close. You've got a certain bond. And that in your time ahead, you may work together, you may work apart. Sometimes it's been said that judges even have their own, fight each other, or amongst those of other judges. But I've learned that if you pledge to one another not to raise your hand to harm each other now, that will carry with you through each one of your awakenings. But it's something you must choose to do before the ceremony.
That seems like a very worthy pledge. Why would we ever harm each other?
You may be directed to.
Is this pledge in defiance of the judges?
One may never know. It may not be now, but in 1,000 years it may be.
I think it would be better to pledge to each other. Together, unified, we are stronger.
Which is perfectly in service to Nehebka.
I do not believe our judge would be one to pit us against one another. Our loyalty will carry us through.
Please, your insight, as always, is very helpful. Brought my attention to something I may have overmissed under normal circumstances. Yes, we will unite together in honor of our judge.
Are you all in agreement with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
And so it is. After this ritual is performed, and you arise in the river of the Duat and face the judge, he will, from what we understand, give you your first task. I wish you all luck, and that's the last of the lessons I have for you. It's getting late, and you are to be celebrated as heroes tonight. So, let's cut out of here early. What'd you say? Unless you have any further questions for your old teacher.
No, if it's fine with everybody else, I think the celebrations can begin.
Let's wait till after we're dead so they can build monuments to us.
That's the spirit. They did that to my cousin, I believe.
Croatan, you seem deep in thought.
Just taking it all in still today. But I do agree. Let's move on to our celebrations. There's eternity to plot and think.
And but one day left to enjoy ourselves in this manner. Come, Croatan. Come on.
I'm sure this will not be the last time we will have merriment together.
We've pledged. I don't think this will be the last time.
See each other again, but it'll be in a much different circumstance. So let's make something that we will think fondly on later.
We might forget everything else, but we'll remember each other.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And with that, I'm assuming you guys proceed straight to the festivities. On the main street of Iron, there is something akin to a bazaar. There are performers of physical feats, kind of like a street circus carnival. There are musicians, there are exotic foods. They have spared no expense, as this is a day that many guilds in Iran are going to be performing their own rituals. There are 6 guilds in total, and yours has been the most active. You see your friends, your families, all cheering you on as almost like the ancient equivalent of a graduation. And they couldn't be happier. The night proceeds, Are there any kind of things you would like to do in character with each other or during this?
More than anything, Ozir wants to just absorb all of the people that are kind of praising him and saying all these great things about him. He wants to just kind of absorb all of that. He likes to take all of that in.
Yeah, they're putting laurel wreaths on you. You got men and women coming up to you, kissing you on the cheek.
I'll kiss right back. Thank you. We do this. We do this all for you, for everyone. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you.
Ahmed drinks, and he tries to get everyone else around him to drink.
This is watching people, like sort of taking stock not only of everybody in our groups, reactions. She's drinking more slowly than Ahmed probably wants to, but she's kind of hiding it, and just still sort of like earlier in the courtyard, seeing what the different reactions are as people come up to us, and trying to just sort of set that all in her memory.
And as the night progresses, you see a great number of people really getting into it, getting quite drunk. They're taking Ahmed's lead as he's got the pictures up and everything. And the ones who are, as the evening progresses, much too far in their drink, you see some people who look like city guards carrying them off. Whether it's the home or a medical facility, you don't know. But they don't want anyone to be tripping over any drunk populace, I suppose, is the immediate reaction you would be thinking. Is this anything that any of you are going to look more into, or is that just par for the course, like a normal
Kind of
thing?
follow with Elise and kind of nursing the alcohol a little bit, but really taking everything in. Kind of still being stoic and everything, and I mean, like, not like a superiority type deal, but just really pleased being here and just taking it all in, and just seeing the crowd if anything's going on or at the same time.
Do these guards look like they're up to no good? Like, have we seen this before during parties? Is there kind of a crew that goes around and picks up those who've fallen, or is this like they're trying not to be noticed?
It looks like they're trying not to be noticed. You've seen something like this happen before, typically with a festival preceding a ritual for one of the other guild houses. But you were never in the spotlight thinking, you were too busy focusing on the people who were being celebrated. Now that you're the one being celebrated, you're witnessing this and you're like, what is that about? Like they're practically being wheelbarrowed away. Like where do they go? It's a little strange. And one person you don't see is your teacher, Cheb, who mentioned that he was going to be there to celebrate and drink with you.
What is our teacher's name again?
Icheb. I-C-H-E-B. Yeah.
Where'd that old cadre Cheb go? Said he would be here.
That he'd be here as well. He said he'd be here. And I look through the crowd, see if there's anything, approaching.
Likely lost in a book or a lesson plan.
Oh, this is not like him.
A number of the other teachers are there, including some of the other students from the different classes. You could ask some of them if you needed to. You do recognize two of them. Hiram and Kevi. A male and female student.
Perhaps he is mourning the loss of his students after this day. I know I would be certainly sad if I were to lose us.
'Cause I'm so great.
I would actually, at that point, kind of seeing other teachers there, things like that, would like to approach the two students.
They're kind of in shock that you're walking up to them.
Oh, no, please.
As if you're like an Olympian.
I'm still still for the tonight. Just a regular person like you. No, please.
No, you honor us. We're here for you.
No, you honor me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Come, please.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I seek your insight and your knowledge.
From us?
From you, yes.
We're like undergraduates.
Well, we four are at a loss of where Isheb is. He said he would be here. Perhaps you've seen him around, walking the halls.
Well, he left. I saw him leave the class not long after you. Normally we walk the same path home, but I didn't see him.
You didn't see him go home?
No. I mean, he's probably buying some kind of gift for you, I'd assume. But I mean, he was your teacher, right? Did he say he was going to be here?
He did. That's why it came to our attention that he's not, and we were just looking for him. Again, like he said, he's probably being a gift or, again, lost in a book. But you said he didn't go home after class.
No, I'm sure of that.
Thank you so much for your knowledge and your wisdom and your insight. You will go very far in your studies. I can already see it.
You really think so?
No. I know so.
Oh my god.
Oh, where I thought you were going.
Yeah, I was like, do you really believe that? No.
You almost had me there. Right?
And I'll touch them both on the shoulder and just be like, yeah, and just nod, not even saying a word, and turn and go back to the three of them.
Shoulder. He's gonna be a god.
How far away are we from the school?
About a 10-minute walk.
Yeah. I mentioned over to Lisa, I'm gonna head back to the school, see if he's over there. Still.
You know, I'll go with you, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the guards are being a little squirrely, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting a different vantage point on them.
Yeah, I appreciate the company as well.
Yeah.
If I can get back to them before they leave, I just want to fill them in on what I found out from those two students, that Isheb didn't go home. And then I'll see what Ahmed's doing.
Thank you. Definitely seems like a good idea to go check out the classroom then.
Yeah, start there.
Should we all go, or perhaps we should check out where the guards are taking people as well? We might be able to follow them if another... Look at Ahmed. If another... No, it wouldn't be him. They wouldn't do that.
Probably cover more ground if we split.
Okay. Sounds good.
Ahmed is currently beating someone in a semi-drunken fit of an arm wrestling match. You hear the slam to the table, and he comes back. Why are we not drinking and being more merry? What is the solace look on your face?
Ahmed, it's still a night for celebration, but come with me, and I'll look at the two of them and just be like, we'll go to the guards. You try to find the Chem.
So Azir and Lise are going to check out the school. Was that it?
Oh, no, Croton and Elise.
Lise. Gotcha. Doesn't take you very long. Like I said, it's about a 10-minute walk. There's a lot of people heading away from the school and the residential districts towards the festival. Just a lot of latecomers. You get to the school, the door to your classroom, which is normally shut, is ajar.
Seems.
It appears like there was even a sign of forced entry.
Usually Isheb is very consistent in closing it.
Yeah. I kind of stand by and just push the door open, just staying on the outside, so look in. See if there's anything in there, if we can see anything.
It's a dark room. This may be an ancient civilization, but they have science much like what we have today. Much of it mixed with sorcery. And it looks like there was a sign of a struggle. Some of the things on his desk have been knocked over. There's what looks like to be scuffs on the floor, a desk knocked over, and a tattered piece of a uniform that looks like one of those the guards wear, along with one of Echeb's personal effects. His pin that he normally wears on his sash, designating him as a professor at this school.
This can't be good.
I go if the paper's on the desk. Is there anything of interest on there?
He was writing a letter to the four of you. Got about halfway when it looks like he was interrupted.
This is disturbing. Should probably meet the others, inform them.
Yeah. Are there any signs of the struggle continuing outside? Like, where we're standing, does it look like anything's been knocked over in the hallway? Does it look like there's a scrap of cloth on a window that they might have dragged him out of that way?
Why don't you give me a roll for that?
First roll.
Pulled up the wrong sheet.
This will set the precedent for the rest of the game.
Please give me
Apologize in advance.
an intelligence and investigation.
Just one.
Were you also rolling, Croton?
Oh yeah, no roll.
Anytime I say that if you guys are in the same scene, and I offer that you can do a roll, anyone can roll.
One as well.
You don't find much. It looks like there might have been a sign of the struggle, but then again, some of the students here don't always get along either. Like,
Are there any guards usually at the school, or?
Never, actually.
Okay. Do we see any around us, like floating around the school at all right now?
You do not. You didn't see any walking there either. The only guards you've seen so far were the ones that Lise had seen in the streets taking people away.
It's a little suspicious, don't you think?
Ew, I don't like it.
No. I think we should go find the others at this point.
Yeah.
You make it back to the festival and you see Azir and Ahmed amongst the crowd.
So then I told Azir, I said, "Ha, that is not an Irem pharaoh. That's my wife."
Big laugh. Ahmed, the funniest. Jokes are your forte for sure.
Hopefully I will continue with that sense of humor into the afterlife.
Were we able to follow any of the guards up to this point, or are we still kind of waiting for the next wave to come in and pick up the inebriated?
You've seen one of them keeping an eye on you. You both.
Oh, okay.
A babysitter.
Something like that.
Okay.
Eventually, the guard walks up to you. He's a little smaller than Ahmed. He's like, where have your other celebrants run off to? This is their party.
I'm sorry. And you're asking us where they went. They are free to do what they want. It's their night of celebration as it is our night of celebration. We stay here amongst the people. They go to quiet solace. Do not know where they've gone.
Self-reflection.
And I don't believe it is your place to ask.
It is exactly my place to ask. I am security.
And we are
Students.
We are tonight's honored guests.
And still civilians. Until tomorrow.
And then what happens tomorrow?
Oh, it's a big day.
Are you attempting to inhibit our fun?
Not at all. I'm wondering where the other partygoers are. That's all.
Can I... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Ahmed kind of gets up into his face a little bit and goes, if my comrades want to self-reflect in peace, then they should be allowed to do it. That wouldn't be a problem now, would it?
Hey, pal, I was just curious. It's just a little unusual.
He drinks.
You know, my first thought was, maybe I don't know. Maybe the food just wasn't as good or something. Maybe we didn't have enough drinks here. I don't know.
While he kind of says that or it backtracks a little bit, can I maybe use like empathy or some sort of kind of read him and find out just kind of what's in his, as best as I can, like what's in his head? What is he getting at?
Yes, sir.
So what would that be?
So that'd be social. Let's see. Yeah, you can do empathy. You could also use socialize with, let's do wits on this one. Wits or intelligence, whichever one's your highest.
Wits or intelligence? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Ooh, 0.
Can't read him. For all you know, he's just some nosy guard.
Okay. Then I'll just pat. No, I don't believe it has anything to do with the food. Just quiet contemplation.
Great. And he walks away.
Can you believe the gall of some of the people here?
Ahmed, I'm not entirely sure, but with what Lee said before, don't like that they were questioning us tonight. We'll see what they find when they come back. Maybe they'll have more answers for us.
Right about that time, you do see Lise and Croatan coming through the crowds.
My friends, you have returned. Hopefully with that old coot now.
Not so much.
Seems to be there was a struggle in the classroom. He was in the middle of writing a letter to the 4 of us and literally has stopped halfway through. So I fear for our teacher.
Are you saying he has been attacked?
That's what it would look like.
Were you able to recover the first half of the letter?
Oh, I didn't take it with me, did you?
No, but you read it, right?
I did read it.
What was its tone?
Rick?
It was basically that he was proud of you, and he's basically going to try and do what he could, even though he's an old man, to look after your loved ones.
Okay.
And it looked like he was going to start addressing each one of your accomplishments when it stops cold, practically in the middle of a word.
It was also odd that seemed to be a piece of a guard's garb in the classroom as well. And I mean, as you know, we usually don't have any guards in the school area. So
You said guards never go into the school area?
It's a very peaceful community. IRM is a civilization that's not only advanced in science and technology, but its people don't have the drive to really harm one another. It's very unusual for a crime to be committed. Like in Demolition Man.
Okay.
Ahmed will...
Is there a Taco Bell? Sorry.
Funny you ask.
Ahmed will slam the table as he kind of gets up from his seat, or if he wasn't seating, He just slams the table and goes, "They have allowed scorpions into this house. Is there a weapon close by at this celebration?"
Well, Ahmed is a sizable person, and anything is a weapon in the hands of Ahmed.
He looks around and just, because Ahmed's, his reaction is just full 100 all the way. He said, "I will not stand for this betrayal. These scorpions and snakes, I will tear them asunder until we find our master." And I look towards the guard that was talking to us before. And I pointed him, "You, come here. Yes, you."
What's up, pal? What's with the tone?
Tone?
Tone. Why are you talking to me that way?
He kind of
Citizen.
rises up, getting into his face. "Tell me, what is? I'm sorry, I totally forgot the teacher's name again. I'm trying
Cheb.
Cheb. Where is the Cheb? We know one of you snakes were in there, and have blindsided him when he was writing his last moments to us."
Did you just call me a snake, son?
Can I intimidate him?
You can.
Okay.
I mean, you're trying to do so
Yes.
now. Making a roll would be even better.
So what is that?
That would be intimidation and presence.
Ooh, cool. That's exactly what I was hoping.
I had a feeling you were pretty good in that regard.
Yes.
Someone did make the pre-gens today.
And just so I remember right. All right, so a success is on an 8, 9, or 10, correct?
Correct. And the 10s are exploding.
All right. Awesome. Let's hope I do good.
Do better than me.
1 success.
Oh, boy. The rolls tonight. You are not intimidating to him.
I probably burped like halfway through my speech.
Yeah. You're like Barney Gumble to this guy, from The Simpsons. No, he's not answering any of your questions. He looks you straight in the eye. He's not fazed. I don't know where your teacher is, pal. I suggest you get on with the night's festivities. He wasn't drunk like one of these, was he? Because if so, they probably just took him to the infirmary. I mean, if anyone was going to be drinking tonight, it would be your teacher, right? He'd be celebrating harder than anyone. Would he hit the sauce a little too early before leaving campus?
Hold your
So I don't see him
tone.
here.
Can I do one more
Sure can.
kind of reading him when he says take them to the infirmary if they've been drinking?
Yeah.
Because we're kind of getting the impression that's not what's actually happening with the kind of the weird things that have been going on with the guards. So I just kind of want to see and just pick
Everyone
up definitively.
Everyone can make that roll if they'd like to.
Empathy plus what?
Intelligence. Or actually even wits, because this is spur of the moment. This is quick thinking, not necessarily...
That was 1 success for me.
Okay.
0.
Or was that wits plus what?
You can use wits or intelligence and empathy.
Big ol' nothing.
1. Big ol' 1.
You think something's up, but you can't definitively prove it. But your gut tells you that something's off.
Okay.
It's getting late, and you all have a pretty big ceremony tomorrow. The party's about to end. I'm sure your teacher's going to be there. And that does not seem like a lie.
Hey, Rick, is there any, are they wheeling off any of the drunkards currently right now?
No.
I think Ahmed should have a drinking contest to end the night.
They told me it was never good to drink in a sour mood.
Wise words. Nothing good can come out of it.
Lise, your eyes, they see everything. Do you think we have to worry?
I certainly won't sleep well worrying about him. I am thinking they were literally wheeling some of the people out like there are carts.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there might be some cart tracks that we could try to follow.
There are. And you can roll wits and survival to follow those tracks.
Survival.
Does anyone have survival?
Just one.
I believe so.
I do. And I'm going to be helping her out on that.
I try to give you guys each a little bit of everything, a little different. That
Wait,
way
go
it
ahead.
compliments.
I have three successes.
3 successes.
Ooh.
Nice.
More than a 1.
You find you've got a good eye for it. Many of the others would have seen maybe 5 feet of tracks, and then a lot of the direction of it was lost from the sheer severity of the crowd. But you are able to follow it for more than a mile. And it goes kind of in the opposite direction of the infirmary. In fact, it goes not far away from where the ritual tent is performed that you will be going to tomorrow morning.
Start sneaking around, looking at the... Are we at the ritual tent or just heading there?
You're heading there. You would arrive there and you'd see that the cart is there, the people are not. It's actually not a tent, but it is a larger building and it has a subterranean level.
Shall we investigate?
We've come this far.
Yeah.
As you walk in, you see the first floor of it. It's fairly open. There are the ritual, I guess the modern way you could say it is that it's like a bed or a gurney that you are strapped to as everything takes place. There are large metallic orbs that almost look like a Tesla coil above there. It's very ancient civilization meets Frankenstein, but in a more modern, scientific, and arcane professional way. It also has what you would normally see if, the best way I can compare it is when you go and you watch a surgery being performed as a student, there are a number of seats all around in a circular manner with rising levels like you would see at like an auditorium. People who are going to be doing this experiment or future embalmings, things like that, they come here to study, learn. Those who are very dedicated to this religion, to these judges, come here to witness their new heroes being born as well. People come here for a variety of reasons. And where those pedestals that you are going to be laying on are, there is what looks like to be almost like a mechanical device where the floor gives way and you can see further down. That's currently covered over. You assume that that's going to open up as the ritual is being performed. If any of you have ever seen them before, maybe not, but that's what you would have seen from the past. Not necessarily as close as you're going to be tomorrow when you're literally getting a front row seat, but you know that there is a subterranean level that goes somewhere for a purpose.
Okay, let's go look for the subterranean level.
Yeah, is it completely quiet here? Like, can we hear anybody talking or calling out for help or...
It's silent.
Yeah.
You do see some people in the auditorium area preparing for tomorrow, cleaning up, making sure that everything's top notch. There are some people who are basically like engineers, making sure that the equipment is functioning properly, that everything is status A, ready to go. There is a door leading down a set of stairs to that lower level. You don't hear anything down there from where you are now. Do you follow it?
Yeah, I'll go down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as you follow this underground staircase, it goes down for what would be considered to be like 4 flights, as if it's like a 4-story building underneath this thing. It comes to a larger antechamber. And as you look through the kind of like slit in the door to see what's beyond in the hallway, you see a number of those guards taking people on a gurney that are unconscious, and one by one putting them into this large center room that from your positioning would be kind of underneath where the ritual takes place the following day. And on one of those carts you see Icheb, unconscious.
This is what they meant by he would be here tomorrow. Sick joke.
And there are about 15 guards down there working to carry what looks like to be 30 or 40 people into that room one at a time in a fireman's carry, or 2 by 2 carrying the arms, carrying the legs.
Rick, do we know the process of becoming an Arisen?
You were always told it involved great sacrifice, and now you're wondering if that was literal.
So they're being put in like a pattern, like placed in a very specific way, or just kind of.
They're kind of like being brought into a giant, empty, central, circular room, and they're being just kind of placed in there, not in a particular order, just as if they're all locked into one massive cell.
Is this what it means to pass into the afterlife?
Looks like it might be.
Disturbing.
This just seems odd. If Icheb knows the process to the point that he was writing us a letter expecting everything to be fine, why would this then be happening?
Would have the letter done sooner.
Right. This seems sudden.
Maybe this is what he said about our pledges coming before our judge.
So,
is there only one hallway leading to this room and everything, or?
Yes, and for those of you who want to, you can give me an intelligence and occult.
Rick, would I be able just to, off memory, would I remember anything like? Because this is not the first. Or is this the first time an Arisen has been made in our lifetime?
Possibly. You remember your parents talking about them seeing one when they were maybe teenagers, but...
So we would remember people disappearing around that.
Right. How many did you get? Croton? 3? Okay. Liz, did you roll for it too?
Yep, got 2.
2?
0.
It's okay, you can still flex.
Yeah.
if it matters, I roll got a 0. So
Okay. Thank God there's no bestial failures in this one, huh? So, Croton remembers that when he told you about the bond, when your friends started talking about the bond, he told you that's something he wasn't supposed to tell you. That was something he found out that he wasn't supposed to teach you at all. And you would assume that maybe someone overheard it, that he got in trouble for it, and that they brought him here because of it.
We relay this to the others.
We can't allow this to happen, right?
No.
No, I don't think he. No, we have to save him.
Should we not save the others?
Rick, how many are there in the room? Like, unconscious?
50.
Yeah, I don't think we could save them all.
There's a noise coming down from the stairs behind you.
There's nowhere to hide, is there?
No.
Is there anything to use as a weapon? Like
The
guards
shoes of
leave
the
it?
shoes of the people on the cart, if you could get to them before the guards. There's 15 guards in front of you. Someone's coming down the stairs.
None of them have put their weapon down by the door.
No.
Ahmed will prepare to sucker punch the guard that's coming down the stairs, and hopefully not cause any attention.
Okay. Why
And
don't you
try to
give...
get into somewhere shadowy and just, sort of
Yeah.
try to strike when they're not looking.
So Ahmed can give me a stealth.
Try to
And
stand opposite of him in a little bit more of
dexterity.
an obvious place so he's not noticed while I will be.
Okay.
Alright, that's gonna be straight dexterity roll here.
Well, it's not too bad for you.
Should we switch?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna roll with punch. I'm not gonna spend willpower yet.
Because
do you want to switch?
If we could switch, because I have Brawl, so...
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I already rolled if that means anything, so I guess I'll hide in the back.
Alright.
Okay. So did you roll, Croton?
What is it? Dexterity and Brawl you want?
Dexterity and stealth. You're trying to
Oh, no. Oh,
get
it's
out
a
of sight
stealth.
from him, and then you'll attack him if you make a good...
Oh, I don't have any stealth. I just have Brawl.
Well, you can straight up brawl him. You might make some noise, though. I'm sure that Ahmed's pretty good at
I'll
just
try to
straight
do
up attacking
stealth
a guy.
first. And that was amazing 3 for my stealth, all
Oh.
dexterity.
Thank God.
That is enough. You are
That's good.
able to hide extremely close to the corner of the door, right into the shadow of where the light is not quite hitting. And let's see, you are the bull. You have a initiative of... I didn't write the initiative of that one down. Hooray! Good for you. That's okay. I've got exactly what I need in front of me. Why don't you give me your strength and brawl, Jay?
Okay.
So your dex and your composure is your initiative. So in your case,
So, strength and Brawl is
Good,
1,
5.
2, 3, 4. 4 successes. You said my initiative is 5?
yes.
So I got 4 successes for the strength and Brawl.
As he comes down these stairs, he doesn't see you. And you swing and attack him where exactly you're trying to go for. He is actually carrying someone on his shoulder.
As
That
best
is
as I could, I
unconscious.
would love to actually hit the back of his head and try to knock him out.
Okay. So with your stealth, you do manage to hide enough where he takes a couple extra steps past you. You swing, you hit. What is your strength?
My strength is a 3.
And that is enough. He stumbles to the ground. He's not quite unconscious yet. He hasn't made a lot of noise. It's like you hit him and then he caught himself. You would have made more noise, perhaps, if he just was out like a light.
Can I punch him again then?
You, Ahmed, Liz, or Azir can attack him. Actually, your compatriots would go next because you've already used your initiative.
Alright, strength plus brawl.
Yeah, go for it. Anyone can do it.
Choo choo.
You're heroes, damn it.
2 successes. There we go.
Well, you hit a man when he's down. He's not in any position to dive or get out of the way. and he is now unconscious next to the body that he dropped.
And how loud was that drop? The thud?
Not too bad.
All right.
What are you doing now? Are you getting the hell out of there? Are you taking on a room full of guards? Are you going home?
What's the size of the uniform that he's wearing?
Pretty small.
Would it fit me? Because I'm 5'7", so...
It might.
All right. I try putting it on then.
You guys must be really close. I'm just kidding. So you put on the garb robes. Now what are you doing?
We should hide both of these bodies. It seems to be where they bring people in and out. We can take them back up top.
Oh, quick. Well, how far away is Ichib from the door?
About 25 feet.
So I'd have to pass a lot of people.
Right.
I wasn't sure if we could try to sneak one in and sneak one out.
I look at the down guard. Well, you can sneak him in.
Well, yeah. I ask one of the guards, hey, can you come over? I got one over here. I need a little help dragging him in.
Yes.
So hopefully we can attack another one and take another uniform.
Give me a quick manipulation and presence.
Manipulations and what? Presence?
Presence?
This is how we're going to take on this entire 15 garden room, just so one by one.
Hey, come here.
This is magical. 4 successes.
He looks at you for a minute. You look a lot like that guy's going to be an arisen.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It is. It really is. Can you come over here and help me with this
it's
body?
a good thing that that you're not, man. That's a grisly thing. But hey, make sure you keep your ID on you, pal. God. All right, what do you need?
Yeah, just help me with this body in here. Come over.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, fix up the guy. Would you drop him?
Yeah. Here, go ahead.
God,
Grab that end, I'll get this end. And as he bends over, I'll go to punch him in the head.
Second time's a charm.
Yes.
There are a lot of other guards in that hallway.
There are?
There's like 15 of them.
No. I bring him into where the body is, where the guard that we took down is.
Like where the staircase is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
go.
bring him all the way in.
All right, go for it.
All right. Wow. I have 2 10s. Are we going with the normal crits with that?
You're going
Four.
to re-roll them. They're like exploding.
Okay.
Unlike V5.
Okay. So there's 4 plus...
5 successes get you a crit.
Okay. So I rolled 2 10s, a 9 and an 8, so that's 4, and then I rolled a 1 and a 5.
So close.
Okay. So you get 4 successes.
Right in the back of the head.
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, good. All right. Next uniform. Who?
Smaller person, bigger person.
This one's a little bigger.
Here's a thought. If we get them out of the way, one of you in uniform could always go and tell the ones still in the room that the evening's honorees are upstairs and would like to address them and thank them.
That's brilliant. So the other 2 want to head upstairs then?
Yeah, and then whoever's down here, grab a Cheb and just run.
Who's the
Really?
best at lying?
All right. So who took the other uniform?
Ahmed would if no one else does.
Okay. So Ahmed, let's get these 2 bodies in there, and after we get the, or actually 3 of them, since we have the one that they were originally bringing down there, get them, and then as we get the third one and let them know to go up there and go see the honorees.
This doesn't feel wrong to you that we're just going to leave the rest of them here?
Can we save them all?
Probably not.
Exactly. So let's get each up and get out of
So,
here.
Liz and Azir are heading upstairs?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Ahmed and Croatan, you're now walking towards the rest of those guards, to the rest of that large room.
Bringing in the bodies one at a time.
All right.
Question, are all the bodies like just normal, like adults?
Yes.
Okay. Thank God. 'Cause that
Y'all
would
had
be a problem.
Y'all had consent forms, and I read them.
Because this was going to be a very different scenario.
Yeah. And as you get closer to that room, there are a lot more people than you originally thought.
Hold on. Okay. Well, let's hope our plan works.
Possibly like about 100.
Okay. So, do we get the bodies in easily?
Yeah. You walk in, you throw them right down. You walk up to the cart, you're grabbing another one.
Yep.
Back into the room they go.
Mm-hmm.
How's it feel on your conscience?
Huh?
How's it feel?
It's kind of crappy, but we're trying to save our friend. So.
Yeah. Really bad.
Another one on the pile. Another one on the pile.
Trying to save our friend, so
Another one on the pile.
there's only 3, so
There's a lot of people in that cart.
so.
There's a lot of
But
people
I-
in that room.
Can we?
But what?
Can we take like one more? I'm strong. I could take 2 more.
One of them grabs Secheb and starts walking with him to the room.
I'll get that one. I heard that there's the honorees upstairs that they actually want to greet you guys and give you their thanks.
We don't have time for that.
You don't?
No.
The honorees. Don't you want to go
We're
see
gonna
them?
No, we're gonna meet them tomorrow. If we don't get done what we have to do here, there's gonna be nothing to honor.
I'd step in. If we don't honor our guests, they're they're going to be very crass with us. It could end badly for a lot of us, much like these people here.
You here to do your job, or you here to pontificate on what you should and should not be doing with time you're being paid for?
I'm just
Because we don't get paid to go upstairs and greet dignitaries. We get paid to do what we're doing right now.
It's 5 minutes.
Put them on the pile.
Anyway, we can try to persuade him.
Of course, this is a game with dice.
All right, I will presence plus persuasion.
Hey!
Hey.
I'll let you start, because otherwise then it's intimidation for me.
Yeah. It's honestly the same either way. But I'm gonna try honey before we go into fists.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I'm not rolling great today. 1 success.
Doesn't work.
What would I roll for intimidation?
For intimidation, you'd roll intimidate and presence.
Presence? Okay. Boy, man, I really think it would be important, take a break, go see the people up there. You really should do that. It'd mean a lot to them. I'm rolling really well. That is 4.
And what are you trying to persuade him of?
Trying to persuade him, intimidate him to go upstairs, take the guards with them, to go greet the, for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. We're just about done here.
See? Wouldn't hurt anyone, just go up there.
They put
Here, I'll take that
the
one.
last of the bodies in the room, including Icheb, and shut the door.
Yeah, I'll shut the door behind everyone.
You don't even have the keys. Come on, let's hurry up. Let's go meet your friends.
All right. Well, give me the
They
keys. I'll close. I'll lock up.
They lock the door. They head upstairs.
Are they the last person in the room with us?
But there's like 7 other guards down there, all heading upstairs now, together with you. They finished. They put a Cheb in the room. They locked the door. They've got everyone in there. They can meet your friends now. They finished.
What's the door made out of?
Metal.
Too bad I don't have larceny to try.
Hey, let's go meet those heroes.
All right, fine. Let's go up there.
Ahmed like stops and looks at
After you.
Croton.
And come on, we'll go up.
Kind of gives
Take
him
him with us.
Something wrong with you tonight?
the raised eyebrow.
You got your credentials on you?
They must have fallen off with picking up all those bodies.
What's your name?
Um,
Give me a subterfuge and manipulation.
3.
I haven't heard of you before, but all right. Let's go upstairs.
Yeah. Lead the way.
All right. All 7 of them, plus you 2, head upstairs.
How easy would it be to grab those keys off of them?
Difficult.
What about trailing behind and knocking him out? Like as the rest of the guards are going forward.
They would hear it. We're in a very thin staircase.
Like I whisper to Croton.
They keep moving. They're about at the top of the stairs.
I think there's only one way this goes down.
I'm just trying to avoid more loss of life. No trouble at this point.
Liz and Azir, some of the other people from the street who were missing you, found you in the ritual center, and they're all shaking your hands. And hey, where'd you go? You know, don't be getting cold feet. It's okay.
Well,
This party's for you.
the party's here. Party is wherever we are, and you are celebrating with us.
Yeah,
Right,
all
Azir?
right. Let's move the party into here. The cleanup crew's gonna hate that, but let's do it.
They're going to be cleaning up tomorrow anyway.
There's now about 20 other people in that room who are like, "Hey, brought you a drink."
Mingling, watching the door for the guards to come up, and trying to totally make this into a mobile party to be as distracting to the downstairs as possible.
Great
There's
idea.
a lot of guards. There's a lot of people. It's getting difficult to track the one with the keys from the ones that don't have the keys from the people in the crowd. It's like a living version of the paper cup game with the ball under one of them. There's more people in your face. There's more people partying with you. You're trying to mentally follow the right one. Liz and Azir don't even know which one the right one is. It's Croton and Nick who knew who had the key was, and now it's all kind of shuffling. You could make an intelligence and survival to try and pick out the right one in the crowd. But your odds of getting that key are slowly slipping away.
Survival. Yeah, you can try that.
What would be... Is it possible we could get them all drunk?
I don't know how.
What happens to drunk people in this town, huh?
Well, if they're the delivery boys.
I rolled 2 successes on the. Let's see if I could find the guy with the keys.
It's not enough.
Didn't think so.
And the festivities for the night start to wind down. People start going home. You see less guards. Less of them are familiar. And you're left with a sinking feeling in your stomach that there's someone you know in a room full of unconscious people, in a building that you're not sure what's going to happen, but you know it's not good. And I'm sure none of you really feel quite as heroic as these people are making out to be. And you're wondering if this destiny has now come at too great of a cost, I'm sure. How are you guys reflecting on that as your characters currently?
I am definitely feeling less and less honorable with the festivities going on, especially knowing what is going on downstairs and that we are losing our mentor in the process.
I'm barely holding myself back from causing a massive stir and attempting to fight my way down to save as much people as possible, but the thing holding me back is not my own life or unlife, but my friends around me, that they'll suffer for my mistakes if I do.
I'm still looking for a way to get this done. I don't want to give up on this yet. I want the cheers that come with getting this done. Is there so I know me and we kind of stayed behind and they were the ones going in there. So do we even know that there's a door and a key that's needed? I know we don't know who has the key for sure, but we don't even know that part of the whole thing really.
Correct.
So we can't even.
And now the people who are filling the building are the people who are meant to be there for the following morning for the ritual. The attendants. You maybe about 4 hours away from morning when it's all going to take place.
Croton, we could just leave. They can't do the ritual without us.
I know. Yeah. Sure they can't, but we're preparing our whole lives for this ritual.
Do you think this is what he would want?
I think he would want us to continue. By his comments, he seems to know more than he let on to us to know about this ritual.
You think he knew what was coming?
I think he knows. I don't think he knew he was going to be part of it in this way, but I think he knew the risk of and the need for this ritual.
I look over at Azir and Lise, because we can't really talk to them now because we're in disguise, but we kind of just try to share as many looks as we can.
I think we could probably go over and, we've thanked the other guard, so we can sort of pretend that we're thanking you and get the scoop. Which is that it looks kind of bleak.
At this point, they're practically the only guards there.
I think the only comfort we can take in it is that we've done this all so that Irem itself can live on. Which feels kind of hollow right now, but maybe as part of a
Though now seems you said the guards left, right, for the most part?
Yeah.
Now seems as though the temple is as empty as it's going to be. Perhaps these few hours between getting set up and the ceremony itself is the time. If we can get down there now.
You said other people were going in there, Rick?
Yeah. Not downstairs, that's locked and sealed off, but the room itself is now being filled with people who are preparing for the ritual, which is edging closer and closer. Did you want to end the scene?
Yeah, you don't think there's any way we can save Egypt or those people?
I think at least put into perspective. This
Yeah.
is
You want us to continue?
Perhaps you're right.
And the morning comes. Some of you probably don't even sleep. You're brought to the building that you just struggled against many odds, against hope. You were virtually prepared, roped down into smaller, more almost like a hospital kind of Johnny or whatever they call him, sleeveless. They make you drink the milk of this sacred plant to numb the pain in your bodies. They paint sacred names of the judge upon you. They pour a couple of different containers of liquid over you, which are symbolic of the waters of the river, the Duat, the place between this life and the next. And you're strapped to a table, and the floor on each side of you, well, the four of you, begins to open. And down below, you do see those people who are unconscious awake. Some are yelling, others are not. Some were prisoners who knew this is what was coming to them. Others are numbers they needed to get this done. And the tables themselves, which you're laying on, kind of rotate over as they're holding you in place. And you are stabbed as someone reaches around up into your belly. You don't feel the pain, but you feel your life slipping away. Those coils that look like Tesla coils above arc and flash and hit the tables that you were on. And a line of people who are on an upper level above the pit, who are sorcerers, who are necromancers, are casting a fire onto the people in the pit below. And their spirits, as their souls leave their bodies, rise up into the lot of you, divided amongst the four. And as your life seeps out, and your soul is trying to leave the tether that ties you to your own body, the life force of these people are being pushed back into your own, solidifying your very persona, your very essence into your shell. And you lose complete consciousness, but the last thing you see is Ichem looking up. You wake in another place that is not Irem. It is a vast oasis at night, with the stars clearly showing above your heads. Better than you could see them possibly ever. The city lights are not impeding their beauty. They're crystal clear. And before you, You're literally standing in the waters of the river, the Duat. And you look down, you touch the water. It's more than water. It's made up of what looks like to be liquid souls of people floating by to some unknown destination. And the four of you walk out of it onto the cool sands of the night. And as you look ahead, there is what looks like to be a large mountain with a being sitting upon it. And that being is the judge, Neheb-Ka. And I will describe him. Because the book is great and gave me a description. And I can't find it. So it is like a sphinx head with the body of a snake. It is bizarre in its movements. As it shifts and coils, it almost seems like reality stirs around it. And power emanates from its very being. And it sees the four of you walk out of the waters, and in a voice that seems to shatter heaven itself, it says, "Approach, my chosen. You've survived the trial. Your hearts and spirits have survived the process. There are people I want to unify in history. A prideful people I wish to bring low. You will awaken near the coast and drive them back. The year is 590, which may not make sense to you now, but it will." And the four of you seem to go back into a state of sleep, only to awaken in a cave on a coast with people around you who are dressed completely differently. They have armor, leathers, swords, but much cruder than you have ever seen. But they walk as if it's the most impressive thing in their entire civilization. And as you awaken, you barely remember Irem. You don't remember Ucheb. The whisper of your own name is on the tip of your tongue, and you don't know where you are. But you see four others around you who you feel are not a threat. But at the same time, it is cold, it is dark. You hear the crash from the waves of the ocean. And strangers are standing before you who suddenly drop to the ground prostrate in worship as you rise off tables for the first time. And tell me what you do.
With no memory of those things, this is the first thing. Just innately, Azir definitely just looks at those bowing before him, and it feels right. And he once again takes in that. He's just like, Then he looks at the other three, kind of unknowingly, but then back again to the people kneeling.
Ahmed sits up slowly. Actually, no, he sits up abruptly. The last memory being the memory of Irem and what he has become. He says his teacher's name as he kind of looks at himself and to the others and then to his comrades. We are awake.
Finally. But How long have we been sleeping?
Stand straight up, just off the slab and up, kind of start forward at anybody who's too close. Because I don't think Lise really knows what's going on. Like, this is weird and not anything she might have expected. And not a fan of people standing around when you have no idea who you are.
It's effortless getting off the table. And it happens in what seems like an instant. You thought it, and it happened. It was that quick. Your very veins feel like they're on the good kind of fire. And there's a power that is coming from within you that is beyond any confidence, any joy, any love that you've ever experienced. It is raw. It is the eye of a hurricane inside of your body. And you're confused. And like you said, you don't know where you are or who these people are. Vague memories swirl in your head. And you feel like you need to have some kind of restraint because the amount of power that you're experiencing, you feel like you could shatter a nation. And more people from the opening of the cave run in shock and awe as they feel something in the air and immediately drop prostrate to the ground. 50 of them. Minutes later, 60 of them.
I would like to stand before them and kind of slowly walk up to the first line of people. And I'll touch like one on the shoulder. Stand.
And he rises with his legs shaking. And his eyes completely wide. Terrified, but in a different kind of terrified. He doesn't know if you're going to destroy him. He doesn't know if you're going to tell him, "You're my good and faithful servant. Thank you for being here." He doesn't know.
When he stands, I'll turn back towards the three of my friends. So back to him. Be like, where are we? What is this place? Speak.
He raises a hand and snaps his fingers. Says, "Map!" And another gentleman runs up with a parchment, and he gives it to the person whose shoulder you are holding. And as he unveils it, he shows a very crude map. Your studies in Irem, in the Nameless Empire, you would recognize the continents. They were a global empire. And you see that this is a small island in the northern hemisphere. And he says, England, England. And he points to the coastal part of the island. And he says 790.
What?
This is Jarrow, England.
England.
What is in England?
This is the country that you are now in, where you have awoken. We have been waiting.
No empire stands but Irem.
Irem is long gone. Irem was the city. The Empire is now nameless. Our cult has been told, but much has been lost over the years. That was over 13,000 years ago.
So very long.
The king is Ethelred. There is a threat to our civilization. These are invaders from the north, coming across the seas. Normans, Vikings. It was foretold that you would come and help, and drive them away. We're at the brink. We might lose it all.
Have you an army of your own?
It's not quite enough. There are our own people living here that are contesting this land. And now we have invaders on all sides.
You summon us to fight your battle.
This is the judge's battle.
Could fight an army, don't you? Look at all the three of them.
I'm still kind of looking at my arms as you described that we're basically just electrifying power running through our veins and everything as I'm listening to things. I feel like I can take on the world.
I feel like I am the world.
You do, actually.
And who are you that has summoned us?
My name is John Harrington. I was chosen to be the head cultist here for your awakening. It is said that I was going to receive the blessing of the Sadiq, where one of you would lay hands on me and give me a spark of your eternal, so that I may be ready for the next time you awaken.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves yet.
I agree, for they're nearly here.
Do you have weapons?
Swords, horsemen, axes.
Then I require some equipment.
Bring me an axe.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Ahmed is the lion?
Yes.
They hand you, they literally bring you as many weapons as you could carry for each of you, just to try and overly please you, in hopes that they have not offended or have made you feel slighted in any way.
Would I know what the typical weapon of back in Irem would be?
In Irem, you were trained with a number of weapons, with swords, axes, stabs, bows, firearms.
Then I will take the sword.
Is there another sword?
There are plenty.
I will take another sword.
As you hold them, they feel weaker than yourselves. Like a child who picked up something cardboard.
This power.
The other men slowly start to rise as they hear a horn blow behind them. They gather their weapons and head out to the beach.
Are the invaders coming in on their ship? I'll follow them out. Are the invaders coming in, like, right up to the shore? Can we see their ships?
They're about a mile out and closing.
Now, our abilities, do we just inherently know them?
Yes. Between when you were asleep and when you have awoken, it's almost like your subconscious self was going through trials within the duat of how to instinctively use your words of power in that realm. And every time you use your powers in this place, in the land of the living, and you use them up, as you descend back into lifelessness, you recharge those abilities in the netherworld of the duat.
John Harrington, tell me something.
Yes, ma'am.
All of those ships none of them are yours? They're all your enemies?
Correct.
So I have this ability. The water of life and death.
Break the world, Lauren.
Yes.
I'm only going to be at second 10 for so long, right? The tier 3 effect of it allows you to part the water ahead of you for up to a mile and, hold on, what was the other? To 100 yards deep and wide and up to a mile in length. Just opens a corridor between me and, I guess, anything in my way.
Indeed. For
So,
those who are watching, I will try and help describe this power so that they may use it in their games. The water of life and death, level 3. You command the water itself to part before your glory, opening a path, like you said. You may choose for the channel to close behind you as you move through it, or not, or remain open. If left open, it may persist for up to a day.
I think we'll leave it open so everybody who wants to come up and go straight up to the ships and fight them can. And I'm assuming that where it actually parts, there's some ships capsizing on either side.
Right. Hitting rock bottom as if the ground beneath their feet or the water beneath their boat had literally given way. This also applies a level 3 extreme environment to the affected area.
At least...
You going for it?
Oh yeah. Unless anyone is
No,
like,
it's cool.
no, stop. Then
Do you want to narrate this power that's emanating from you, or do you want me to do it?
I think Lise just sort of stands on the shore for a minute and looks out at the ships. Sort of looks at the people assembled. Is the king's army anywhere nearby, or do we just have the people who came into the tomb or the cave to find us?
As you walk out of the cave, there is a larger assembly of about 1,500 troops. Not a full army. It's enough what they could get. They didn't expect the Vikings to get there so fast. And they're spread pretty thin.
Send one of your runners to tell the horsemen to be ready.
I'm in. And he yells off to a couple of squires who run in various directions to tell the rest of the army up on the hill, who look confused because they're not in on what's about to happen. They don't know. They're not part of this cult.
Lisa's just going to wade out to maybe her knees in the water and sort of lift her arms up in a big old sweeping gesture and just watch the water split apart.
And the English Channel becomes a literal channel as the ocean itself whips apart as if it's like nothing you have ever seen. As the waves part and tsunami on the left and the right, a bunch of the ships caught in between kind of rise up a little bit with the wave, get higher, and then as it spreads wider and wider, come crashing down onto the rocky ocean floor below. Ships break, not into 2, not into even 8, into thousands of pieces like crushed Legos beneath their own weight and the velocity and violence of what has just happened. and countless Viking longships and Vikings lay scattered on the ocean floor with fish and kelp and things, most of them dead. Some who managed to get a little bit of the water going down. Out of 100 ships and countless invaders, there are maybe just 100 left, barely standing, trying to determine what act of God they just saw. The soldiers around you themselves are dropping their weapons. Your allies. They didn't know what to expect. These are cultists who were prepared for something, but they never imagined anything like this was possible. They figured you were some kind of monster, some kind of undead thing that could maybe take down 20, 30 of them. Not an armada. Not a world breaker.
How many more Viking ships are still left?
There's 15 or so that were further than a mile back who have stopped rowing.
You can totally get to them, though. I have made a path.
You do have a path.
John Harrington,
Yes.
get me a steed and take your sword. We're going into battle.
Am I riding on the horse with you?
You're riding on your own horse.
Yes, I can do that.
Tell your men when I give the command, if I give the command, to shield their eyes.
Oh, okay. And he gets you a horse and tells his men to avoid looking at the enemy, which normally they would question, but now they're just...
So, as I charge with them into battle, if that's what they're going to do, with my sword in the air, I let out a war cry, and I'm going to spend... I can spend a point of willpower to activate Glorious Mind.
Okay.
He, raising sword in the air, you see the electricity spark off him and then just radiate out like a paragon of light. As they just tear towards the remaining ships. Everyone looking at me must succeed at a roll where they are awestruck in my presence. And I look back to my fellow Arisen and I go, "Come! This is not what we were trained for. Or this is what we were trained for."
Give me a resolve. Oh, wait. What's your ab rating? Actually, I can find out.
My ab is
Because that determines their difficulty.
4.
They fail. They see what they would have been told in tales of mythology. Zeus literally riding at them from a beach of an island that they thought was full of godless little pansies hiding in thatched roof cottages. And instead, this terrifying godlike being is racing towards them on an ocean that has been split and cracked like an old vase. And they're starting to row in the opposite direction. But that takes a while, and you're on horseback, and you're closing the gap.
I'm going to see if any of my fellow Arisen want to do anything before I do part 2.
I'll see. Yeah, I'll see if this will work. I step forward into the channel, and I'll step forward and kind of look up at where the boats are trying to turn and row away, and kind of open my mouth and take this deep breath, and out from my mouth comes this swarm of scarabs that erupts out and flies over, and I want to use where'd you go? Rite of the Sacred Scarab, tier 2.
Tier 2.
So this would be the stronger version of the scarab that allows me to make a any number of scarab minions concurrently, so I can just erupt this big swarm of them, and I just want them to start going and flying out and start swarming as many of the boats as I can get there to be, and start pulling the oars out of the things, or unscrewing where the oars would kind of go out and be controlled by the people, and see if I can just take away their control of their boats.
They have a pretty fast speed, and they're very small. And a swarm of them emanate from your body in a larger mass than your own body. It's as if they came out of the netherworld or some hellish place from an onlooker. These jeweled black beetles with very sharp teeth begin filling the day sky, turning much of the horizon black. And they easily catch up to the Viking ships. And you feel like you can control them. You're moving with them as one hive mind. And they begin to attack, you said, the sails and the oars of these ships.
Yes.
They have a dice pool of 10. They have enough successes. The masts of the ships are covered in black insects that tear and bite through wood like it was bread. And it starts to fall apart. And they move to the oars. And they move to the boat. And Viking warriors are trying to hit them, and they fail. They miss. What are they doing next, Azir?
After that, they so they're eating away at the sails and the oars and the hull itself. They can't attack directly, if I understand the power correctly. So from that point, I just want them to start swarming like people's faces and just trying to blind them and deafen them and just buzz in their ears and just cause as much of a horrible distraction as possible. And then I'll look back to Harrington and say once again, send your men in.
And they go. And as the Arisen get closer to the ships, Lys's channel continues to widen and expand as if it's moving with you until it reaches the ships, until they too fall prey to a waterless ocean. And rotten wood filled with scarabs cause the boats to disintegrate practically before they even hit the ground. And more soldiers fall, covered in armor, their weapons thrown, and they've all hit the deck. And the English army, riding behind you, is just stabbing those who have broken legs, broken backs from falling from a place they didn't know was possible. And out of all the Viking ships, there were only 2 that were left that have now had enough momentum to go home and potentially tell those where they came from that this is no longer a viable place to raid. You would assume.
Do we want
That's
to
what
send? Do we want
any
to send
smart
them
person
back,
would do.
or
It's up to you.
Can I reach them with the dust beneath feet if I use it as a what is it, death curse?
Let's find out.
All right. So, do I need to roll anything for this?
Well, you're using pillar powers. I think it just happens, this one.
Okay. So basically, it's just seeing whatever materials, stone, sand, since we're in this trench, any metals basically encasing my body and creating like a tomb. And basically giving me almost like an armor. And I would say, since I'm using this as a death curse, probably, would you say, like locusts, probably heading towards them on top of scarabs.
Right. And now you look like a golem.
I do. I know
Essentially.
you've grown in size as well by one.
And so has your strength.
Uh,
For breaking, manipulating, you feel you can shake the very ground beneath your feet. Actually, with your Ka pillar rating of 3 or higher, you add your Ka to your size and your strength.
So my cost 4.
Right. So you're massive.
awesome?
Did you see this?
Probably a 20-foot being covered in stone. Black ocean stone. Moving at an incredible speed. As speed is determined by your strength as well in this game. And you quickly close the gap between what you thought was not possible of ships that are now 3 miles out. Like it was nothing. And you're upon them. What would you like to do?
For me at this point, I was just literally trying to use it as a death curse at this point, just to incur death and rot at this point for those that are remaining. But not to kill them off, but literally so they can show up in the most wretched form.
And a plague of locusts emit from this massive granite god and covers the boats, completely blanketing them in locusts, who eat very quickly all of their food stores for the trip home and their armor, and even some of the surface epidermis of the soldier's skin. And as they will eventually arrive home, they will have brought with them pestilence from an unnatural invasive species that will now bother the Isle and land of Normandy for generations, causing a new blight on their people for countless years.
Is the plague going on at this time in history?
Yes.
Because if not, it is now.
As you,
We've got about 500 years until the Black Death, but
Minor
This-
details.
there's always some plague.
yeah.
As you head back to the beach, the army of English people have raced back to shore as quickly as possible, not knowing how long this miracle is going to last. But they are looking at you as heroes, but also terrified to be in your presence, worried that any wrong look would cause you to shatter them on sight. except for John Harrington and the 60 that you met in the cave. They seem extremely happy, vindicated, that what they've been waiting for so long has come true, that they were right, that they weren't crazy, that they weren't heretic outcasts in this newfound Christendom. And that things were looking up for what's soon to become the English Empire. The rest of the army goes back to the main city, back to the king, to tell them that something unbelievable happened. Whereas the 60 follow you back into the tomb on the cave. And what do you say to them? What do you do?
I shrink back down to size for starters.
Wise.
Enter back the cave. We have done what you have asked of us.
We don't have much of foresight as to the prophecies. We know that you're going to awaken again here in 1,000 years. At the same place. Where you go from there, we don't know. We know the legends and the prophecies that have been passed down that affect us directly. We know the next time will be in Bristol, about 1,000 years from now. And I would like to be here to welcome you when that happens. May I have your blessing?
I feel like you've earned it.
Do you swear to guide this new empire of yours, this England? England? Am I saying that right? Ing?
However you want to say it, my lord. They'll change it for you.
Yes. Good, very good. Well, remember that. Promote unity. And don't get too big that you think that you are above the gods and judges itself. Because if you do, then we will be back here. Not as your allies, but as your judgment.
We honor the ways of the god judge Nehebka.
Good.
We will seek humility.
Then give me just a little bit of time, and I will grant you a boon so that in the future you may survive any forthcoming battle in this new empire of yours. And I'm specifically referring to out of game the Guardian statue, which I can craft a small statuette in the image of someone that I've met and spoken with. I'll spend if I spend a willpower. Next time they would receive harm, it is diverted into the model, and it will shatter.
Correct. It will. And that is a perfect way to protect those who are your cultists underneath you. You can also invest point of Sekhem into them, giving your deathless energies so that they basically, kind of like a ghoul and vampire, live without aging, so that they are there to instruct cultists now and the generations to come to be ready to serve you and remind you who you are to each other, and what you are meant to do upon each awakening, because you yourselves will not always know. It's a symbiotic relationship between Arisen, the Deathless, in the cult.
Does the second regenerate when we arise the next time?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he is the general, would anyone be against a warrior giving a fellow warrior his blessing?
Yeah, in fact, to ensure this stays, I would not want to know who his second in command of this would be. Or if he should fall, it will be at least 1 to 2 to rise, to keep us and remind us who we are.
And he brings over another gentleman named Walter, who's his second in command in the cult.
I will give him a blessing, and I will also make one of those little guardian statues for him.
Okay.
And I will give John Harrington his blessing.
All right.
I will also up to the two people that we've chosen to kind of, be our go-tos. And I have something to protect you as well through the years. And I'll produce 2 more scarabs, but now they're not living. These are the tier 1, so it's they're made of like chitin and gold, and they're covered in jewels. They just kind of are able to produce them out of me. And I'll give them 2. And like, you're protected, but these can protect you as well, or you can grant them to those you trust, and they'll provide you good luck. Anyone who wears one of these has a -2, or it gives a -2 penalty on dice rolls that would physically harm them. So,
They look like they're brought to tears. They're so happy that they've pleased the prophets from the judge himself.
Have you also considered statues?
Yes. Of all 4 of you, or just the judge?
If you would honor us with these statues, we can watch over you through the years as well when we're not here.
I will be glad to commission them.
You're a good man, John Harrington.
And at that, with your current awakening accomplished, do you go back to sleep to pass the years to awaken in 1797?
Skipping a lot.
You re-enter the Duat. You learn more about yourselves. You learn more about what it is you've accomplished. You see the sea of time pass over the mortal ages, and you awaken, as foretold, in Bristol. But this time it's only Ahmed who awakes alone, with no cult, with no friends, with no memory, nothing to guide him, nothing to tell him who he is. In a limestone cave called the Wiki Hole Caves in Bristol. The year 1797, not that he knows it. His body is covered, barnacles, seaweed, left uncared for. You awaken not knowing anything. Do you want to take a short break before we continue? Do you want to keep going?
Seeing. I could do with like a 2-minute break.
2-minute break is cool.
to get some water.
All right. Do you want to put on the little buffer music?
Give me 1 second, and yeah, I'll sorry. Oh, sorry, the pre-roll music been going this whole time. And yeah, we're good. We're in oh.
And welcome back to the Onyx Path Publishing Virtual Gaming Convention with Gehenna Gaming. We are now into the second part of our Mummy the Cursed second edition. We're well more than 50% through. We've got some very interesting story twists and turns coming up here. One of them, which we left off, everyone went to sleep to pass through the ages on to the next task. But Ahmed, played by Nick, is woken up alone, without a cult, without a friend, without a reason, without memory. 1,000 years from where he just went to sleep. And we can start off from there. As you look around you, Ahmed, you see the limestone cave. And there is a corpse on the rocks, not far from you. It's mostly a skeleton now, covered in sea life.
What happened? Azir, did you...
And no one is there, but the echoes of the cave of your own voice.
Azir, lies. Cortella. Where are they? Oh. Where am I? This feels like a different cave, right?
It's a different cave.
I bet blind just try to... Do I still feel that electricity, or do I feel severely weakened?
You feel more powerful.
Why did they wake with me? Who summoned me? I'm looking around for the nearest source of life.
There's the corpse. And a statue of yourself broken. With the face that has been eroded away. Not by time, but by man. The features of your face were chiseled off. As if someone had a great hatred.
Who did this? And I'm just making my way out of the cave, looking... I'm guessing all the other statues are the same way.
There's only one statue. And it's broken.
There must be other tombs then. Hopefully. Is there only one slab where I woke up on? Or are there multiple?
You weren't even placed on a slab.
I was just out of the ground.
Yeah?
What happened here? I'll just make my way outside.
You're checking the body as you walk past?
Yep.
There is a piece of leather tied to the skull. It's wrapped and folded up as if it was parchment and tied with thick twine that has seen better days.
I examine the leather.
It's leather work. It's been heated and pressed. And it simply says, Walter.
Walter. Does that trigger anything for me or no?
It takes a while. It's hard. It's very hard for you.
I don't know.
You felt like this was someone you trust. Now he's before you dead.
Oh my god, my head's pounding. Okay. I just gotta find them. They gotta be out there somewhere.
As your head pounds and your memory swirls, and you're almost hallucinating, coming out of this deathless sleep, the statue has a face, and it speaks to you. And you hear the voice of the judge, which is overpowering, almost overbearing. The voice of Nahakeb. And it's not a present voice, it's a reminder of what he said to you when you first woke up after your ritual killing transformation. That you would wake up in a land and drive away invaders who are prideful, and that you would destroy them. Only this time, he says this will happen twice. But you don't remember him saying that the first time. And then, as if nothing happened, the face on the stone erodes back into nothingness.
Oh no. What happened here? Oh my god. Wait, here is it? They're not here. Okay. What would Lise tell me? She would say, exhibit surroundings. Take it one step at a time.
Are you walking out onto the beach?
Yep. As he's talking, he's going to be saying, yeah, he's going to be walking out.
There is a much larger army of about 20,000 redcoats with cannons and muskets and swords and horses waiting as ships with red, white, and blue vertical stripes by the, I don't know, there's probably 30 of them. They're not the Viking longships you remember that held 30 people max. These are massive French warships. And the English are waiting there with cannons, and they're ready. But you remember that you were sent here on a mission for a specific purpose at this specific place and time, to drive away yet another invader who is arrogant, egotistical, and did not deserve their place in life, meddling with a force that the judge himself wants to use to unify the world. What do? You're probably pretty mad.
I've been tricked. I was used, and I will no longer. Am I overlooking the army of the redcoats?
They're behind you because you're literally in a cave right on the beach on the coast, whereas they are like what's in back of me, kind of up on the embankment.
So do I get the idea that the English are the ones I've been sent here to judge, or the invaders?
The invaders.
Okay, the invaders. I wait until the ships get closer to me, and kind of just like in my mind, just like swearing like, oh, I wish my friends were here. You know, this would be much easier. We would be more unified. And then I look at them just as soon as they get close enough, with kind of this air I gain in my chest, and I open my mouth almost ungodly wide and just let out a high-pitched scream that is higher pitch and louder than any humanly possible as I activate my tier 3 of my power of Ray. And with it, as this like roar explodes out of my throat, I set a light with a blaze that's more brilliant than the sun.
It is significantly more brilliant than the sun. Is that the level 2?
No, that's the level 3.
Oh.
Yeah, it's time to bring on Sodom and Gomorrah, pillars of salt, everything.
Please roll your ab, which is your heart, your presence, and your occult against these invading forces. As a cannon, louder than anything man-made in the history of all human creation, between now and the last human life. Decibels shatter the stone around you as you yell.
And with yells that are more of just out of anger, out of desperation, he gets 3 successes.
And that is enough. You cause severe aggravated damage and a blinding condition on the entire French Armada, who are suffering second-degree burns as if a nuclear bomb has gone off far too close and has immediately scorched every layer of skin on their bodies. And as they wail and panic and hit the deck, trying to scramble and find something to hold on to as the ocean betrays them and their own ship from the shockwave of your voice, they lose control. They lose their control of the sails. They lose control of their footing. They fall off. The ships crash into each other, and people begin to die from their very wounds. And our armada is now on fire, captained by a dead people. And you are alone on the beach, full of people that didn't expect you there, that don't know what you are. They didn't know to expect you. They've never heard of you. Not like before. This went differently before. Before they worshipped you. They bowed before you. They were grateful. These people are terrified. You're not their friend. You're something, some god that walked out of the cave and cast a judgment greater than anything possibly except the flood of the good book they so hold to. This is something that they will write about and tell generations about. Of a man in a cave who shattered an armada of a nation. Some run, others come up to you and praise you and thank you and don't understand. They inherently want to worship you. They ask you to come with them back to London, where surely you could be put to greater use than whatever it is you were doing here.
I look over at them. This place, are you of the forces of England?
They look shocked that you know the word England. This is England. What of it? You've been here before?
Many years ago, when me and my comrades scourged the longships from these very shores. Tell me, does John Harrington still rule among you?
I know a John Harrington.
Where is he?
London, sir.
Is this London the seat of power of England?
It's the seat of power of the world, sir. The sun never sets on the British Empire.
The look over at the remains of the cave. I will come back to this London, but I require something of you all once we get there. I need a new home, as do my friends.
Are they like you?
Yes. They are gods that walk among these shores when wakened. They are. Our pledge is the greatest that no empire can sunder.
Follow us then. Have a horse or a carriage, so there's a train not far from here.
A horse.
Very well. And you make your way to London. You get there. They're enthralled by you. They want to use you. Some time passes. You don't find your friends. You don't find John Harrington. We're going to montage this, but you become something of a novelty. Something that they want to card out and use. Many worship you, but many are superstitious. They don't understand. And time is waiting on you. You begin to remember more, but your power also dwindles. You're not as godlike as you were when you walked out of the cave. And a few years pass. You get sickened, pissed off, jaded. You don't give shits about England anymore. England doesn't care about you. John Harrington, man said he knew him, but you've not found him. And 3 years later, Liz, Azir, and Croatan awaken in 1801 with a cult, worshipping them, doing everything they're supposed to do. Very happy to see them. And they don't act like anything is out of place or forgotten. And John Harrington,
my friend.
John Harrington is there.
Where are we?
When
What are our
are we?
surroundings when we wake up?
When?
You are in a brick building. It's very ornate, regal. You are, it was kind of like sarcophaguses, but not stone. They tried and emulated their best. There are statues of the three of you that are adorned and beautiful. There's a book of your history and your actions and everything you did that day 1,000 years ago against the Vikings. You're hailed as national heroes. You're beloved. Although it's now considered a myth, much like Arthurian legend, but your exploits are the stuff of stories. The stories of Croatan, Lys, and Azir. And John Harrington is extremely happy to see you. He says, "My friends, welcome. Do you need help remembering anything? Is there anything I can do for you?"
Do we know we're missing our fourth friend?
No.
All right.
You feel something's missing, but you don't remember what.
Something feels out of place. Missing.
It's probably this place in time. It's all very strange. It was 1,000 years ago. Much has progressed. England
This is
now
where we went to sleep.
rules the world. It's the same country, this. You saved us all. You birthed a nation that expanded the world. We're forever in your debt.
You
And
have,
why? Do you know why we're awake now?
It was prophesied that another great enemy would come from the sea. Something did happen about 3 years ago. Where someone like you destroyed an entire fleet.
Someone like us. Who?
Yes. We don't know.
Was it? Do I remember the place where they originally summoned us?
You know it was a cave.
Was it about the place the last time you summoned us?
No, it's a different beach, different front of our island nation. I summoned you because there's been something of a sacrilege. Many of the relics that were kept in our possession, we've kept safe. However, since one of your kind did what they did 3 years ago, there's another country called Egypt that is roughly in the same area as Irem was, that spawned off of your great empire. And many of the relics of Irem have been mixed with theirs, full of the energies that you deathless possess. They're now in a museum where they should be. They've been bought by the rich. They're being used sacrilegiously by those who are just interested in a passing fad. Your entire culture and civilization deserves better than to be mishandled by those who are arrogant. This very night, they're on display for foreign dignitaries, likely seek to use what energies may be contained in those vessels to be granted similar blessing to the one that I received from you. And I didn't want that to happen. So by the rules of our cult, we're allowed to wake you when something like that happens, or a time of great death or great need. But there has been rumor of the one that awoke 3 years ago, wandering the underground of London, aimless, alone, and angry. And it may be becoming a problem.
perhaps
Do you think-
this is,
No, go ahead.
perhaps this is one who found one of these artifacts you mentioned and has the powers unnaturally.
It very well could be. Rumors say he's quite large and extremely dangerous.
Do you think he'll be trying to take some of these relics that are on display as well?
Some of ours are already missing from what we've kept. I'm assuming it was that being. But the majority are at this bizarre party auction being shown tonight. I've acquired clothes of the time for you and arranged a couple guest passes. They're not going to look for identification, just the proper documentation.
These vessels are part of IREM and therefore are part of us. And we should get them.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Then I will take you to a dinner party that they will never forget, I'm sure. You'll go with him?
Yeah.
All right. You arrive, and it's a very fancy event. Gowns, tuxedos, people with mustaches that just look ridiculous. What is that growing on their face? They're practically twirled. They've got strange top hats. They talk in the most strange manner you've ever seen. You don't know how this could be considered civilized in IRAM. This sort of thing happened thousands of years before your even time. This is like the infancy of the Nameless Empire. These are really strange customs to you.
Yeah, but I do like the top hats.
I was just going to say, I'd like to talk someone out of their hat, because that looks pretty nice.
Indeed. And so you arrive, and they weren't kidding. There's an entire room full of relics from IREM. It's in your language. You can feel the Sekhem emanating from them. And that their very presence here is an affront to your God and everything you hold sacred. And Ahmed, you feel this too. From under the streets of London, where you've hidden yourself from the world, angry at what has befallen you. You can sense that not only is there a large gathering of artifacts with Sekhem, but you feel they're being drained of that as well. And you know that with your diminished power, that if you were to get those, you could restore yourself back to the time on the beach when you shattered a nation.
Do I feel like physically frail at this point in time?
No, you just don't feel like a god among men. You feel like more like, I don't know, a demigod.
And I don't remember really anything of my past.
You remember more now. You remember that you had friends like Liz, Croatan, Azir. You remember John Harrington very clearly. You remember Walter. You remember everything you did in your last awakening.
Where did it all go wrong, though? But now that I remember, if I can get that Sekhem, then I'll have both knowledge and the power. Okay. Ahmed will start heading towards the party.
The three of you are at the party. You see a number of bids going on where people have bought relics from Egypt, relics from IREM. They're popping the top of some very ancient jewelry boxes, fishing around like children looking for a cookie in an old jar. Mishandling relics from a nation you belong to that you were so proud of that you were slapped on the back and told, our way of life will be preserved through you. And how does that make you feel?
Yeah, no, that's very angry. Don't like this at all. Can we tell which are Are all of the relics carrying the sort of magic energy? Is it certain ones? Can we tell which ones those are?
Yeah, there's 3 of them in the room that are very much filled with raw, untapped Sikkim.
Okay.
Several points worth.
Is this a silent auction, or are they actually holding the?
They're holding.
Okay.
Yep.
I would like to see if I can kind of ask around before those 3 items go up for bid specifically, unless they're already been bid on.
One of them has been purchased. 2 are still up for bid.
Okay. I would like to find out who won that item, if I can.
All right. There's a woman next to the auctioneer who's writing this all down. She's got a record of the bids for the night, the items, the lot number. She would be the person to ask.
Okay. I will kind of just, walk up to her, through the course of moving through the people, again, take a top hat, take a cane, make myself as fancy as possible and fit the decor, and move up to her.
Bad form, sir. At least give me an offer for the hat. You
Apologies. Apologies. Perhaps you can win it back one day in an auction.
Oh, it's just ungentlemanly of you.
I will move up to the woman who's keeping the records.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. How can I help you?
Hi. Well,
What's so funny about my voice?
Nothing at all. I find it quite charming.
Oh.
Much like you. Unfortunately, I apologize. Me and my associates here were unfortunately a little late to this particular event. And, I just thought maybe between you and me, you could help me with something. There was a particular individual item I was very curious in that has already been bid on. And I would like, if only to speak with the person who won, the opportunity to negotiate further transactions for that item. If you could just one little favor for...
As charming as you are, I cannot give away just records to anybody. The people bidding would be so upset if someone tracked them down like a hooligan and beat the living Christ out of them for some ancient artifact. Not that I'm accusing you of anything like that, but you see, these are the problems that may arise from giving away such valuable information, sir.
And I completely understand, and your devotion to the protection and secrecy of all of those here tonight is applaudable. And for that, you are amazing at this particular endeavor. However, I'm not just anybody. Look at you don't recognize me? You don't recognize this old friend? And I'll do familiar face.
Yeah, of course you are, especially when you said it like that.
So I will spend 1 willpower to raise her. I can improve my impression of a single mortal by a number of levels equal to my Ren, which is 4 currently.
Oh, man.
If they have no meaningful pre-resisting relationship, the target thinks I am an old friend. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Is that you, Benny Walker? Little Benny Walker, I used to live upstairs from you and give you the most delightful Christmas presents every year. You've grown so big. And she grabs your very powerful, very full of ancient energy, deathless cheeks and pinches them. And she practically gets a shock on her. Oh, you're such a strong young man these days.
And you are as charming as ever. And yes, little Benny all grown up.
Flatter me. Sure. The man who purchased lot 665 is a Keith Harrington.
Keith Harrington.
Indeed.
Very, very interesting. And just between you and little Benny, what do you know of Keith? I'm not familiar. I'd like to introduce myself properly when making introductions.
Keith? He's from a very wealthy family. Very wealthy. Him and his father look very much alike. Unfortunately, his father passed some years ago, and Keith inherited everything. I believe he's out back right now collecting his vase.
Thank you so much, darling. Please write me for Christmas. Hearing from you would be as wonderful as any present you sent me in the past.
If you invite me to dinner, I'll be there with bells on, Benny.
We'll make sure that happens.
Splendid. Meanwhile, outside the auction house, someone's darkening the doorstep.
Uh-oh.
The rage and anger and desire on this person is practically palpable, tainting the air itself. And you can feel exactly where that's coming from, Ahmed. Right out back, in a room behind the auction house, Sakem is currently being drained. And you feel its pulse getting weaker as fuel is being spent. You're still quite strong. There's a single door leading to the back area. You don't even have to pass through the auction house.
Then I'll circumvent it. Yeah, I'll circumvent it to get there.
All right. Beyond the door, you can feel it's where many of the other artifacts are kept. There's 2 in there that are untouched. There's one that is definitely losing potential and potency. You trying to pick the lock on the door, break the door? How badly do you want this?
What's the door made out of?
Wood.
I will use my eyes will flash as like a bronze mirror catching sunlight, and I will attempt to set the door aflame in a controlled. We're using my tier 1.
Tier 1. Very well.
So that looks to be my Ren plus wits.
That's right.
Plus a gold.
Yep.
Okay, still no occult, but that's fine. Okay. I get a 2 successes.
It's enough. The door catches. It's not as controlled as you would have liked, but it's brick. Good old England. Before you know it, the hinges on the door give way, and it falls apart. And you're looking inside a very large gaslit warehouse with crates from all over the world, many from Egypt. And there's a very familiar man in a top hat and a tailcoat with his hand in a jar, scooping water that is glowing blue with energy into his mouth. As he hears the door fall apart, he looks, and it's John Harrington. And at about that time, our friends from the inside, Croatan, Liss, and Azir, make their way out back and see a very old familiar face of Ahmed.
Do we recognize him or just the face?
Now that you see him, you recognize him, and you feel ashamed that you ever forgot him. And you don't know why he was erased the way he was.
How's he looking?
Not as good as he did when you last saw him. How do you look, Nick? What are you wearing? You've been underground for so long, not caring about society.
Yeah, I feel like...
Howard Hughes or something.
Yeah, I feel like we just have, just as his stuff is kind of winding down, he's gotten a lot older looking. His clothes are deteriorating, like really rags at this point. The color out of his face is gone. There is a good amount of gray hairs that have formed in his hair. Do I hear them coming behind me?
They're actually to the right of you. They came from the auction house itself. And you see them, and you remember them very clearly. You've had a lot of time to think about this.
I waited 3 years for this moment.
3 years.
3 years.
We've been awake less than a day.
You weren't here the last time I awoke.
You were awoken without us?
Yes. And I think I know why. And I look over at John Harrington.
Getting the last drops of that jug.
We can talk later. Is there actually a weapon nearby?
Oh.
I look at him. I'm guessing I can't manifest my tier 3 again. Because I'm just probably very weakened.
Correct. And as he looks at you, he recognizes you. Ahmed, found your way out of the cave. Did you see Walter?
What did you do?
What happened to Walter?
He's dead.
What did I do? What did all of you do? To me. You stood by and did nothing. You took tail and ran. You had a very pathetic attempt to save me and watched as I died. And my life filled yours to make you everything you are. And his face shimmers away in its Icheb. I'm not like you, deathless, fueled by those whose lives were given. I am the lifeless, and I have to feed and scrounge like a scavenger on Sikhem that I find at shitholes like this, because you were so selfish that you had to be the big hero, and I died in that pit, only to wake up so fucking devoid of life that I came back. And I've been piggybacking like a tick through centuries to find each one of you motherfuckers. And I got one of you just close enough, weak enough to possibly leave in a cave and drain dry myself when, what do you know, the other ones wake up. I finally managed to get one of you away from the other cultists, and I erased you from history. Just like history erased the fucking Empire and me. And at that, he uses an utterance. Wrathful Desert Power. At tier 3. His Ba, his Presence, and his Occult.
Damn. I did not see that coming.
Well played.
Four successes. Please give me your defense number. Actually, I can find it myself too. The bull, Croatan, has a defense of 3.
Yeah.
The jackal, Liss, has a defense of 4. The serpent has a defense of 5. And the lion, I did not pull up your sheet correctly. Breaking the suspense. God damn it. You have a defense of 2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sands erupt from his mouth with a demonic howl as he conjures a vast, howling sandstorm, causing a sandstorm to fill about a mile radius in the area of which he is immune to. He dispenses himself within the sands, perfectly seeing, moving at a very high speed. And before you know it, as the sand blinds everyone in the room, he makes a grappling attack on Ahmed.
Oh no.
And grabs him. And now Croatan, Liss, and Azir may perform an action. And tell me what you'd like to do. And we'll use our initiative modifier to find out what happens next.
I have a question.
Yes.
In regard to this this form that he's in, does this count as him being a like a physical target, or would he count under ghosts, Akata, or spirit?
He merged with the sand for about enough time it took him to get behind Ahmed. But now he's physical again.
Okay. And we're in a courtyard out back, right?
It's more of like a warehouse that's lit by gaslight with iron pallet structures that go up maybe too high with crates and boxes. But the room itself is filled with the sand that pretty much came from nowhere.
Gotcha.
All right. Who goes next, anyways?
Yeah, what's your...
I'm 5.
Initiative's 4.
Okay. Liz? Liz is muted.
Oh, sorry. It was 5.
Okay. So it's a toss-up between you and Croatan. Ahmed, what is your initiative?
7.
Oh, mackerel. You can try and get out of the hold he's got you in.
Would I actually be able to, instead of trying to get out of the hold, can I spend a willpower and turn on my glorious mind? And try to hit him with the awestruck condition?
Yes, you can.
Okay, then I will do that as I start radiating light. They have to succeed a resolve composure minus my ob rating, which is 4.
He doesn't have enough dice for that. So you win. So he goes to grab you, and you light up like Zeus coming down from the holy mountain. And as his hands go upon you and he's about to try and suck the Sekhem out of your body to fuel his own self, he is blinded and stunned by a radiance that you emanate from within and is forced back, giving Liz or Croatan, you can give me a 50-50 dice roll and we can find out who's coming on top, unless one of you wants to concede and let the other one go ahead.
I'll let you go.
No, I don't have anything planned, so.
Oh, all right. Well, I was gonna use my use my tier 3, and basically become the avatar of the judge from God and grow about 2 times the size with a bull head and start wielding. Looks like I can wield a khopesh or a flail, basically. Which I think I don't even know what a khopesh is.
That's
like,
how old it is.
Huh?
That's how old it is, huh? Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Isn't it like box blade? Like it's like.
I don't know. We'll go with flail then. How's that? And the weapon has no initiative penalty and damage rating of, it says 3L. I don't know what that is.
Lethal.
Large, I guess. Huh?
3 lethal.
All right. I don't know if I can actually use that during this utterance. Can I?
What do you mean?
Can I hit him with a flail? Because this lasts for the scene.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. So what is that? Just a strength and brawl?
Yeah.
All right, because it also...
It's like a vampire. You activate a power and you can still attack.
Right. Because this increases all my attributes
By 1.
By 1, yeah.
Yeah.
So strength is 4, and does not increase the brawl though, correct?
Correct.
All right.
You also regenerate.
Mhm.
Your Sekhem goes up to 10. And yeah, you basically look like one of those god-headed...
I have 4 successes.
That is enough. It's his defense is less.
And then if he wants to attack me, he has to spend a willpower. And once
Sure
he's spent
does.
that 1 willpower, it works for the whole scene.
Yeah. What's your strength?
Mine?
Yep.
Currently, with the +1, it's a 4.
So you're doing 7 damage to him. Lethal. And this flail connects with him, and you hear a crack from his rib cage. Not that it seems like he's breathing, but it has severely wounded him. And dust and sand come pouring out of his mouth upon impact as he stumbles backwards. Liz now has the advantage.
So in this room, are there any... This is sort of a storehouse?
Yeah.
Right? So are there any... I'm assuming if we've got relics from tombs, there might be some human remains?
Definitely.
I'm gonna touch them. I'm going to use Awaken the Dead.
Okay.
I will go for the tier 2 effect of that, which is I touch one of the corpses with a little bit of my shard of my own energy, and it's going to rise and serve my every whim.
Yes, it will.
And I'm gonna order it to attack our old frenemy.
You find a crate that has 6 foot long, 2 feet wide. You can read.
Tear the
That
top
language.
right off of it.
You tear the top off. You see the sarcophagus. You rip the lid off like it's a piece of Tupperware. You touch the body, and this electric feeling goes through yourself. It doesn't feel like you're even losing anything, but it jolts to life, starts reconstructing, gets up, and starts lunging at Icheb and makes an attack. As it is a mindless killing machine under your command. With a 10 dice pool. So then, 9, 9, 10. 1 second. 9, 9, 10, 7. Another 10, another 7. I need to roll like this more often. You got 9 successes. And with a strength of 7, just even with its bare hands, starts pummeling into Ichab to the point where pieces of his body are breaking off.
We tried to help you.
And it just keeps pounding him. And pounding him. And it doesn't stop. It is dead and relentless. And your teacher, the lifeless, is gone. And you're left in the room with a friend that you saw nearly days before, but it's been 1,000 years. Or 3. It's hard. It's hard to live this way. And I'll let you have the scene and say what you want to say.
I actually go back down to normal size. I actually walk over to the body and go down to my knees and kind of just sob a little bit. Our mentor, her teacher. We tried.
We should have never left him there. That was our first mistake.
There was no other way at that time.
I suspect anything else that we might have done, we would have ended up like him. Doesn't make it right. But I think that would have been our fate.
If he had come to any of us throughout time, we would have happily given up some power to keep him alive until we found the solution. This twisted and unfortunate.
I thought I'd never see any of you again.
Ahmed, I'm sorry you were alone for these years. I can only imagine what it was like. But I'm happy you're here now,
You're back with us.
together again.
Yeah. It's just us 4. No teacher, like it's always been. Life keeps going days at a time. This has been the longest time I've probably been awake in how many years?
Thousands of years seems like only days. This will keep happening.
It doesn't end here. This is going to happen to you forever. Time after time, betrayal after betrayal. depending on those you instill with the very life-giving energies that keep you going, you'll always have this memory in the back of your mind of someone as dear to you as your teacher that became this thing. If you're trusting mortals from different time periods in a very similar way, with much less of a connection to you than someone who groomed you to be who you are today and instilled you with the wisdom and care that he had, who can you trust? Hopefully each other. If you remember. And that's the caveat, isn't it? One day, you may wake up purposely separated on different agendas, maybe even from different judges or the same judge. And you'll only know that you're raising a hand against Ahmed, Liz, Croatan, or Azir by the fact that you can't physically do them harm. And you might not even know why. And maybe some deep part of you will remember, but primarily you'll just be disappointed that you couldn't serve a judge who took the lives of 150 people. For what? To allow sacrileges in an auction house of things that once mattered, just so that pieces on the chessboard of a new world can fit together the way they want. That's the curse. Is it a blessing? That's what you have to decide. And that is the personal horror of Mummy the Cursed 2nd edition. And thank you everyone for playing and watching. We had an amazing cast of people with a great emotional depth, and it was so much fun.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
That was amazing, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Hey, stay tuned for the rest of Onyx PathCon. There's so many more great games to come, with even some of the people in the room here with me who are likely going to be running more games, playing more games. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you each and what you have going on? Show yourselves. Now is the time. Let's start with Mr. Steven.
Thank you. Once again, hi, Steven. I'm a part of Vorpal Tales role-playing. You can find us on Twitch, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, playing a variety of games. You can also find us on YouTube, catch up on any of our past episodes. Find us on Twitter at Vorpal Tales. And you can also find me playing once again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for Onyx PathCon, as I will be playing Cavaliers of Mars. So come check that out.
Awesome. Lauren, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter as @Falconess, Falconesse. I will be playing Exalted tomorrow morning. I believe we are doing Essence, so if you want a preview of the new sort of Exalted Light rules, come see us. We're going to be seeing some cool new stuff.
And where can they hire you? Because you're an amazing freelance writer who worked on this very book that we are playing right now.
My website is laurenmroy.com. I believe I have my contact info up there, and if I don't, I'll fix it after I sleep.
Cool. You played in my game. I'm going to advocate for every one of you for the next 50 years. So deal with it. Mr. Nick, what's going on?
Hi, everyone. You can find me over at the Gehenna Gaming Discord, which you can check out above our Twitch channel, our website. Just ask for Nick. I'm always around and always being a menace to myself. Other than that, you can always follow me on Twitter at NoblemanNick. If you want to keep in touch, if you want to see more of me and you like my acting today, you can catch me at a 1 o'clock game live stream for Vampire the Masquerade, run by this guy all the way over here, Mr. Rick. And you can also catch me with the peeps from Darker Days Radio at tomorrow, I believe, 4. We're going to be running Chronicles of Darkness Mortal.
Ooh, awesome. Last but not least, my good friend Jay.
You can find me on Gehenna Gaming most of the time. One Unbeating Heart, or as well, you can find me on Twitter that way. I'm always looking for other fans and to play these fantastic games with. So, and to follow my obsession with the base storyteller in the world. Rick?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I am Rick from Gehenna Gaming. I am one of the co-founders, and I am now, my role was community person before. Now I'm the content development lead because I write one-shots like I'm an addict because they're fun. And they help me to introduce new people to new games. And apparently they also get me into running games I've never played before like this. But it was great, and I love it. I'll do it again. You can find me on Twitter at DeathMalkavian, as well as our Discord, and Rick Wheeler everywhere else. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Everyone in the chat was hilarious, too. We had some romance novel stuff going on with John Harrington on the horseback with Nick.
I desperately want the fan art.
Which is headcanon. If you want to commission that, we'll work something out, I'm sure. Make sure you get Nickness perfectly, and maybe just put Fabio in the back and call him John Harrington.
I want to say, yeah, there you go.
Coming to Harlequin shelves near you.
Oh boy.
We're going to write slash now, everybody. Anyway, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.